Just as the anger from the internet people who are always angry about something fades over the success and visibility of the invisible melons, do not fret, the angry people have started to get angry about Stellar Blade. Again. Now, we have talked before about the hypocrisy of the hatred on Tomb Raider, Bayonetta, Nier Automata, and now Eve is the current target of their hatred. It's wild how much the game's media hates strong, independent, intelligent, powerful women. This is really not okay. There is a shifting double standard which is actually quite simple. Instead of trying to figure out why their values snake about, as if they have some form of logic behind the reasoning, just realize they hate fans, and they hate anything that the fans like. Marvel Rivals is one of those Regency romance games full of shirtless men, their lewd nips on display, but all the women are covered up. Why is there still a double standard on this? Why are games over-sexualizing men, but still cover up the women? Why is there a parity? If a guy is allowed to show up with no shirt, there should be no shirts on the women's too. This causes real-world violence to men. This game is killing the men who cannot ever look like this. Where even are his organs? How does he get to breathe? It's shameful there's even a fully naked dude that twerks for the disgusting female gaze so these fencel gooners can glick in their cat piss-stained apartments while listening to the recordings of their college professor preaching scripture from the misandrous Bible. This filthy cult of men-hating prawn addicts who only see other people as objects of their unfiltered lusts. That's you, activists. That's what you sound like if we talked about pandering to the female gaze the same way society aggressively attacks men for finding a shred of joy in anything. The way society does all it can to tear down everything masculine while eradicating every hobby and form of escapism men use to self-regulate their frustrations and mental health. Happy Men's Mental Health Month, by the way. Strange that no government or corporation will ever mention this. Guess they just don't care. Quick, make a choice. Fan service or fan hatred. If you ask the average entertainment corporation today, they are in unison, all in on hating the people they need money from to keep their studio lights on. But the audience has made it pretty clear. If you provide fan service, fans show up to enjoy the service. And corporations, you are not here to be moral leaders in the world, especially when we have seen your morality on full display. Abuse-ridden studios, months of crunch, racist and sexist hiring standards, and far worse things that the media helps you cover up, at least until the point where they have their book ready to profit off human suffering. You are here to provide a service. You are here because people want something from you and are willing to give you money for that something, and if you do not provide that something, well, AAA studios right now are in the finding out phase. But what even is fan service? Naturally, you're probably thinking about the curvy women of gacha games, lovely ladies like Eve from Stellar Blade, or the BDSM men of femcel gooner games like Love in Deep Space. That is true. These are fan service, and it clearly works for men and women, despite the focus activist-ridden society has only on attacking men for having libido. Happy Men's Mental Health Month, everyone. Never forget who caused the crisis. Why else would every gacha character skin heavily monetize beauty? Almost like they know nobody wants to pay for a cosmetic they find disgusting. But here's more. Fan service really is just anything meant to make fans happy, and it needs to be noted, the putrid activists don't just hate that you enjoy a game like Stellar Blade with a beautiful, based on a real woman, main character. They hate anything and everything that largely male fan bases enjoy and find escapism in. Happy Men's Mental Health Month. Example. Watch a Devil May Cry fan first react to the Dante dance scene. That's not overtly sexualized, but it absolutely is fan service. The Simpsons gag of everyone telling Bart to say the line. The Family Guy gag of their version of Marge running for Congress by just saying 9/11 over and over. They're making a parody, but there is some truth in the humor. Every single cameo is fan service. Deadpool 3 and Spider-Man were two of the only well-received MCU movies in the past few years, and DP was double-stuffed, top to bottom, front to back with fan service references and cameos, while Spider-Man saw the two previous Spider-Men return alongside great villains like Doc Ock and the Green Goblin. Notice how they didn't bring Toby and Andrew back just to completely dumpster and humiliate them. Toby showing up with that smile on his face was a moment that was made by people who understand fan service. Even something as simple as just making a lore-accurate game that looks and feels and plays how fans want it to. Think about how happy people were for Space Marine 2. Well, how happy Warhammer 40k fans were. Naturally, the usual suspects who were always angry happened to, big shock, be angry. Yeah, we now have an entertainment industry where everyone in it, everyone in the media around it, and a small but loud group on social media that chills for it, where they are fully dedicated to being against fan service and fans in general, and not just the kind that appeals to the male gaze and the female gaze and the female gaze. Modern Star Wars is a great example of this, managing to monkey paw every single return. Oh boy, Han Solo is back. But he has completely regressed as a character. His relationship is over with the princess. His purpose is to prop up strong Mary Sue, main character who can do everything he can do, include fly his own ship better than he can, and then he pathetically dies. And that's a mercy compared to everything they did to ruin Luke Skywalker, the peak Jedi, whose story involved saving his father, the galaxy's most feared villain, but suddenly he has one bad dream and tries to murder his nephew in his sleep. Mary Poppins. If you know, you know. That's not fan service, that's fan abuse. Why does fan service even get attacked? Even the most gratuitous, the Nikkei and Love and Deep Space. Can you not just enjoy your own thing and let us enjoy ours? It used to be very normal for people who did not like a thing to just not consume it, and it was nigh unheard of for an anti-fan to go beyond the pale in harassment and attacks on things they dislike. Today, art Twitter has a horrible habit of running an inquisition on artists they think are doing AI or have drawn a character a shade too light. Harassment, doxing, threats, the whole nine yards, not just criticism, and almost never with anything anyone should substantially be angry about. Yet, the witch hunts are rampant. The Puritan activists are everywhere, demanding censorship until, worst case, they get hired at a studio to do a localization, and we end up with confused foreign developers who do not understand why the West is becoming more and more censorious every year and tainting the art they create with unreasonable demands. Even the most hated franchises, such as your Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey, in a pre-social media obsessed era, sure, they got mocked, but you didn't see haters going after the creators and actors. You did see parasocial ultra fans get into celebrity stalking, but that's a completely different issue. You know what you didn't see? You didn't see a dozen people who absolutely hate Twilight get hired by the movie studio and demand they remove all the weird stuff. You know, weird stuff like the 100-year-old man who's dating a teenager, or like the adult werewolf who is licking his lips staring at the newborn of the woman who scorned him. Imagine if the Twilight thirst bait for the femcel gooners looked like that one guy everyone in Hollywood kept calling God for years. What would happen if the same uglification that has been applied to characters men find attractive happened to all the characters women find attractive too? It was quite rare for a story to pop up about someone becoming violent or trying to genuinely harm someone over fan service before the 2010s. Now, It just seems to be the norm. It is so common, it barely makes a blip in the news cycle. The media, activists, and major corporations have done everything they can to create an environment where every action, every bit of art, every story gets dissected, and the artists get sent to the virtual guillotine. This is a general rule when it comes to activists. Whatever they state their goal to be, it is always the opposite. These journalists, who try to fight against male toxicity and gamers to being toxic, they did all they could to turn gaming into a toxic space for over a decade. The people who wanted diversity and for everyone to feel welcome, they used blackmail, extortion, and whisper networks to ruin the lives of people working in the games industry due to politics, gender, and race. It seems like we could use more acceptance. Maybe the modern audience could just learn to accept that everyone has personal preferences. That we all have different opinions on what is beautiful, and if you don't like it, you can just go enjoy your own things. If you don't like my game with a curvy, buxom lass on the cover, don't buy my game. After all, you have your own things. Modern audience and your journalist heralds. Why, there's even a hero shooter that was specifically made for people who don't want fan service and want all women covered head to toe like the Handmaid's Tale for body positivity influencers. All you gotta do is put your money where your mouth is and support that game, and it will have a long and healthy life. However, your support for any game is just like ethics in journalism. 404 not found. And once that game is a corpse, you sing two-faced praise for next game. On one end, gleefully encouraging them to behave in ways that bring them to ruin, while on the other, eager to abandon the bloated whale carcass before it has truly grown cold. You vultures already circling around the next studio, giving them that consultation that will make it the next studio all laid off mystery you just cannot figure out. This is a key difference that needs to be made perfectly clear. The people that these activists have cancelled, banned from social media, mass reported, gone after their sponsors, or crowdfunding avenues, the modern audience destroys things they do not like in the only way they can, by colluding behind the scenes with massive corporations to prevent it from even happening, by hampering the creation and distribution process by going directly after the creators and artists themselves. The things the modern audience loves, though, on the other hand, things like Veilguard, Concord, Marathon, Avowed, they get complete support from corporations. And then they get destroyed, not with behind-the-scenes extortion and malicious behavior, but purely because the modern audience does not support anything they demand be created. This is what has killed AAA gaming. An activist movement that kills games that gamers want to play in the shadows, yet refuses to support the games that they are the only people those games cater to. Here's the problem with the male gaze whining Twitter Karen, angry at everything, shuffling onward to the next social cause, wearing the flags and identities they were told to wear to fit in, like a social justice chic purse that is just as disposable the moment it falls out of fashion. Their works of art fail because they do not support it. They have infinite energy to attack what other people love, but nothing in the tank when it comes to showing up, even when a corporation spends a few $100 million on a game like Concord, a game that was built top to bottom solely for them by the people they decided to support. Corporations, keep trying to please these people. They will absolutely give you exactly what you deserve in return. These are fake people who do not believe in what they so viciously preach, who want to do the bare minimum to show off their social credit score, trying to tone police everyone else, and who are consummate hypocrites in their hot and cold hate and love of anything not suitable for work. Devs and the media lost all right to ever complain about sexualization in games again after Baldur Bear's Gate Smasher 3. Let's not forget this was the 9/11 for games media. Their towers were exploding left and right when they found out they're lost in the woods with the bare fantasies could come true. The game had complete nudity, numerous opportunities to not just ravenously objectify everyone, but to engage in multiple frivolous acts of full frontal intimacy. This is a semi-realistic adult game, a prawn game that big corporations suddenly forgot their fear of showing a feminine ankle over and were proud to display front page on consoles and storefronts. And this is not a problem. This is the last place you will find approval for censorship. If people want to buy it, let them buy. What is a problem is the same people screaming in joy that they get to live out their animal copulation fantasies suddenly become hardcore Puritans the moment they see 2 inches of bare hips or some swaying honka-badonkas on an anime girl. So, there is no amount of naughtiness that Marvel Rivals, Stellar Blade, or any other game ever made or that ever will be made can reach for it to be genuinely over-sexualized. You have lost the puritanical high ground after your celebration of unfiltered debauchery. If anything, we need parody. Marvel Rivals is not sexualized enough. Until we're seeing those jiggly tits out in the open and full frontal top and bottom on a whim, until Invisible Woman and Doctor Doom can put that stretchy beta in the cuck chair, and hey, I'll even avert my gaze as you bear bangers give that shark a new blowhole. Games media, we have seen what gets your jimmies rustled and your splunkers kersplushed. You really need to stay out of the conversation, and honestly, it's a bit disturbing how much you talk about hating the male gaze. Is this really the month to be doing that? If you ever asked a woman whether they'd rather be playing Stellar Blade or be invited to the office of a handsy Ubisoft manager, milk-gargling Blizzard coder, or abusive DEI rep, wonder where they'll feel safest. Excuse me, Internet. Venom is completely unrealistic. What man can ever reach these beauty standards? No man has muscles like this, 7 feet tall, a tongue half a meter long, with complete flexibility and control, not to mention the sensual way he sways his hips to cast his dark seduction magic on the innocent like he is just asking for the femcel gooners to objectify him. Disgusting that this is even permitted. Do they not know the year is 2025? But you know what is not happening in 2025? You subscribing, liking, and commenting below. Look forward to the absolute meltdowns over Stellar Blade mods. If Nexus doesn't ban them all, that is. Love what you love, and let nobody ever shame you for it. I'm Jesters, and I apologize for absolutely nothing.